Hi, my name is Linda. I'm the owner of Urban Patio Designs here in Campbell River, and today I've been invited here to do a demonstration of planting up some summer planters. My career has taken me to many aspects of landscaping, building, drainage, doing lawns, designing, but this is by far the most favorite job that I like to do for business. So today we're going to start with a planter. Now this planter is not big. I would say it would be a medium-sized planter, but general rule, the bigger the better. Now the reason for that is that you get more space for the plants that you're putting into it, so more air circulation, more room for the roots to grow, and overall just better for the plants. One thing important when you first start, or if you're a beginner gardener, is to make sure that whatever pot or container you're using has drainage holes. This one does, and drainage holes are definitely important. And you could also put a piece of filter cloth or some sort of cloth around the holes, whether they be on the bottom or on the sides here, and that lets the water out but keeps the soil from spilling out onto your deck or your patio or wherever you're going to put this. Okay, so I've got this filled with a ProMix potting mix. It contains peat and perlite, really important for retaining water and aeration. When we get our pots ready, we like to make sure that we have approximately an inch and a half depth of soil below the rim, and that's so that when you pour water on, it doesn't splash all over the place. So I still have room for soil. I also have to keep in mind that I'm putting in the plants here, so I don't want to fill it up completely to the top to start with. I also put in to the potting mix a little bit of potting soil. Now this is different than what you would put into your garden beds, but it just gives a bit more substance into my mix. So I'm just going to put a bit more in here. That's on the top. A bit more soil. There we go. So we've got our pot, we've got our drainage holes, whether we've covered them up with filter cloth to keep the soil in. Another thing that we often do is put in a small layer of, we have a noise here, a layer of some drain rock, small rock, and that helps also keep the water down there without touching the bottoms of the plants. So today I'm going to do a design for sun, and I'm going to assume that it's going to be up against a wall or a fence or something like that. So what I want to do is take my what we call thriller, and I'm going to put the thriller at the back. I'm going to put the filler in front of that, and then my smaller plants that are going to drape over the sides towards the front. Now this plant here is a favorite of mine. There's many things, many different plants that you can use for your statement or for your height in your pot. Dracaena was very popular years ago. Just a green grass. People can put in cordylines or anything tall. Canna lilies are a big rage now as well in pots. This one here is called papyrus. It's a grass that flowers, and you can see that it's got small flowers here. What I like about this is that this one is called Prince Tut, and there's a King Tut. So King Tut might be good in the garden where it can grow its 4 feet. This one is a bit smaller. It grows approximately 24 to 30 inches. So I like it to give it some height in the pot, It also gives some movement when the wind's blowing, and it's just an interesting plant. And this one is called the Papyrus Graceful Grasses. So let's start. I might be short on soil in here, which I can top up when we're done. When you want to start planting, hold your pot over the pot you're planting in and just gently pull out your plant. This is excellent looking root ball on the plant. It's starting to get a little bit tight on the bottom, which I'm just going to open up a little bit. Trying not to disturb it too much. Try to keep maybe an inch or 2, inch and a half from the walls of the planter, just so that you can let the roots grow a little bit there. Okay. So King Prince Tut is in place. I brought this one here to show you. It's got a little bent on the drive over, but you can see better on this one the flowers that are coming up and how that will give you a little bit of movement. Okay. So once again, this is for sun. This is for a sunny area. When we talk about sun, it's usually, we like to recommend 6 to 8 hours of sunshine a day, like direct sun. Now, that's also different than 6 to 8 hours starting in the morning. The afternoon sun is the hottest sun, so you're going to have to check the watering if it's planted in mostly afternoon, evening sun. The next plant I'm going to put in here is an Osteo Spear. It's great color, vibrant color, and it'll bloom all summer for you. This root ball is not quite as good as the other one. It's got a little bit of root bound happening, so I'm just going to break that up gently here. That's going to go in front of the Prince Tut. It will grow as high as the Prince Tut, so it'll look pretty as it grows, as the King Tut grows, which will be about this high. The Osteo Spear this high. Beautiful. Okay. Now, one question is, how many plants go into a pot this size? This is approximately 13 inches, 14 inches, which would be recommended 3 to 5 plants. 3 to 5 plants doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're putting in something this size, which is a gallon-sized pot, which takes up a lot more room, then your numbers would reduce. So if this was a larger pot, and maybe I would want to put in 6 to 8 plants, if they're all 2.5 inch, then that's fine. But if they're all gallon-sized plants, then you would want to reduce the number you're putting in. Okay, Osteo Spear's in. The other, because this is a small pot, medium small, I didn't choose the filler plants. I didn't choose large plants that would grow. So I've chosen Calibrachoa, one of my favorites. Beautiful colors that have come out nowadays, and I'm going to try to plant these here, and so that they can fill up the spaces and also grow over and drape over the side of the plant. I have a couple of colors. One thing that you can do is gather up your plants. It's something I do. I gather up a bunch of plants, and then I decide what I think is going to go well together. So you can see here I've got reds, oops, beautiful reds, which are going to go quite lovely with the yellow. And I've also chosen, what's this one called? Let me see it. Trailing blue. So it's a striking color on its own. You might question whether that's going to look great, but once you get the yellow in there, they all come together. So let's put these in. This red one is called Neo-Vampire. Gently squeeze, have your hand ready to catch it. I find often they're either dry and they fall apart, or they're too wet and they fall apart. So you just want to be very careful. The larger root plants seem to stand up better to having a root ball fall apart. Okay. I'll put one red one there. It's often a good idea to try to pick up a few more plants than needed. At least that's what I do. Because I find often when I get home and I don't have enough. So having a few extra plants before you start planting makes the job a little more enjoyable. One moment, I need more soil. Okay, so I've got 2 Calibrachoa on the side, the reds. Now these will grow, generally plant tags give you the spread and the height for plants planted in the garden. So when you're planting those plants in a planter, we tend to plant them a bit closer together. Remember that this is going to be up against a wall or a fence. So I'm planting, this would be the front view that I'm planting here. Okay. Million bells. So I'm adding soil as I go along. I tend to like to plant annuals a little bit deeper than you would maybe think that you should. Reason being is that the soil will sink, the soil will settle in a bit as you water your plants, and what you will get, I think I had an example here, what you will get in the pot is the root showing. The soil will sink and the root ball will start to show, and that's just leading towards the plant drying out more quickly and possibly not getting enough water and going into stress. Some plants handle stress better than others, and these plants all in here are pretty hardy. But you know, to have a beautiful design, you want to have consistent watering on your plants. Before I top this up any further, I'm going to add in some coated fertilizer. So this is slow release, which is a great fertilizer to start off with. They say 4 to 6 months. However, putting it in now, and then let's say in 2 or 3 weeks, start giving your plants a fertilizing with water, water soluble. Water your plants first, make sure that they're absorbing the water, and then you can top it up with your soluble fertilizer. Now, this one here is a 10-10-10 coated fertilizer, which is a great all-around fertilizer to get you going. The 3 numbers, the 10, 10, and 10, represent the main nutrients that these flowers need. So nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Phosphorus, the middle number, is the most important at this stage because this promotes the root growth, and that's what we want to happen with these little plants so they can get stabilized and start spending most of the energy on making blooms. I have this fertilizer here that's a Miracle-Gro, and you can see it's called Ultra Bloom, and it's a 15-30-15. This is a great fertilizer if you can find it because it puts a lot of its effort into the bloom. So let's just get some of that on there. I think in this case it's not a big planter, so a handful around. Maybe a little bit more up front. Okay. That's good. Okay, so the main elements of this planter are here. We've got 2 blue Calibrachoa that are going to fill out, start to drape. We've got 2 red ones that are going to do the same and start interweaving among the yellow Osteo Spear. Just to add a bit of jazz in here, this particular plant, Osteo Spear, performs best when it's sunny out. And when the weather's gloomy, these close up. So kind of a barometer on the sunshine level. So just to compensate for that loss of that yellow, we are going to put in a really fun plant called Italia. It's yellow, beautiful little flower, yellow flowers. It blooms all summer. It kind of grows in a mound. And I'm going to put that one in here. Oh, I might have done it up front. I'm going to put this in here so that it can bloom and be blooming all the time, regardless of sun or not. So let's just pop that out. I'm going to trim that a bit here. You could have put that in the front. I'm going to put it off to the side. Could have gone like 2 Calibrachoa, and the Italia in the middle. So that's the yellow. It will start to flower and will continue all year. Okay. Now, just for a bit more fun, I've picked up I'm sure you're familiar with this one. It's the Caroline Lime Ipomea. It's a vine, doesn't flower, but it spreads. It's crazy. It loves to grow. So a recommendation on this, if it's growing too much or where you don't want it, just nip it back. Okay. This is a great contrast with the yellow, the reds, and the mauves. So where I'm going to plant that, I think I'm going to pop it back here, and then as we watch it grow, you can maneuver it between the plants. And once again, the example of not enough soil and the little root plug that it comes in has been exposed, although it's been watered enough so it's staying great. Okay, let's just pop that out. Another beautiful root ball. Not a lot of roots going around and around. Nice and moist. That's another thing to keep in mind when you collect your plants for your planter, to give them a good drink. Let them sit for 15-20 minutes before you start planting, so then they're not going in there, you know, droughted out and getting pulled out of their container and getting pressed into another one. They've got some moisture to handle that. Okay, so I'm going to just pop this back. See, I think I'm going to actually pop this one right at the front. Right in between here, right by the Italia. So now we have the Calibrachoa, Italia, which will be yellow flowers, our greenery, and 2 Calibrachoa over here. The last plant we're going to put in, and this is the fun one, is called Tangerine. It's a Thunbergia. It's a vine that has the most gorgeous yellow orange flowers, and I think that'll go really well with this planter. This one's called Tangerine Slice. It has a common name, which I'm just trying to look here to see what it is. Kind of don't. Oh, Black-Eyed Susan vine. Thunbergia. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck it back in here, and this one definitely will weave itself through here. The flowers are spectacular. They're sort of flat and angled. Okay, so that's just getting tucked back in here. And there we go. So what we've done here is planted up a container that's going to be full of flowers from now, once it starts blooming, from now till October.